Ooh, it is bright out here. Bright. Bright in the city of Houston. I typically just go ahead and dive right on in, but I'm not going to do that. I'm going to give some time for people to come in and see this live. If you are watching this message after the live, don't forget to like, subscribe, and share the message. Especially if the message has been a blessing for you today. Because typically, I don't even want to say typically, all the time I want the message to be a blessing to anybody that come across it. I really do. My hopes is that everything that I say on this channel will benefit someone, will be a benefit to somebody. When you guys like the message, when you like it, YouTube is going to share it to people like yourself. It's going to recommend it to more people. And that's what we want to do because we are growing the channel. So do me another favor, please. Throw a 50K in the comment section. Because when you put a 50K down there, it is representative of the 50,000 sub campaign movement that we have going on this channel, where we know we will have 50,000 subscribers this year. We are pushing for that. We want 50,000 people to join us here on this channel and have uncomfortable conversations. Because for those that don't know, I am Boyd You the Charm God. I am king of controversial and uncomfortable conversation. What's up, Tekken? What's up, man? So again, for anybody that's gonna tune in later, just hit that like button, hit the subscribe button, share this message. All right, Tekken, I'll see you in a little bit. If there's some trolls down there, then I'm just gonna let them. I'm gonna let them troll until you get back. I'm trying not to. I'm not gonna really pay attention to them that much. I'm probably not gonna really get started though until about 15 minutes, so you got some time. I'm just gonna set up the message and then I'll go from there. Uh, but yeah, we would like this message to be shared because we want all of YouTube to be on notice for what we have in store on this channel, where we have uncomfortable, controversial conversations. And on this channel, before I get this message going, on this channel, primarily, we talk relationship. We talk the relationship dynamic between men and women. Everybody is entitled to come get this message. But I do have a message tailored to the black community because it is the community that does not have the cultural install for marriage. So my message is tailored for the black community, but everybody and all sorts of people get into the chat, into the comment section, and talk about their different issues and situations, whatever the case may be, and it is very much so aligned. Now, I have different topics that I have covered, but today I'm going to be talking about when a man is in pain. Today I'm going to be talking about when a man is in pain, and I'm talking about emotionally. So if you're just tuning in, hit the like button. Again, y'all, we want y'all to hit that like button because we want YouTube to recommend the channel so others can get in on the conversation and get the message that I feel is truly for them. So hit that like button when y'all come on. Come on, y'all done came on in. Go on ahead, hit that like button. Hit that like button. Don't get in the comment section and just troll. Go ahead, hit that. Let's get them likes up. We up in here. Let's get the likes up. We got about 10 more minutes before I get going and get into this message. It's going to be a very powerful message today, and it is for men. What's up, Angie? This is for men. This is a message for men, but I want everybody to listen to it, and I definitely want women to listen to it. So again, if you're catching this live, awesome. If you catch it later, that's great. But please play this often in this space. Again, y'all, when y'all come in, hit the like button. Hit that, just tap it. It's so easy. It's right there. You just boop. You just hit that like button. We want y'all to pump them likes up because at the end of the day, we want YouTube. I think today's message is a message that really needs to get out because, again, this is for men. This is for men. This is a man's message. And um, I think in the space right now, we've heard a lot about women. We have heard a lot about women. We hear about women often. I've explained why we talk about women so much. But one thing that I think is very absent in the manosphere, red pill dialogue, whatever the case may be, one of the things that is missing is the conversation about the man's state of being in his mind and in his heart. And what has happened is in the red pill world, in the manosphere world, you have a lot of men that have went there to vent, and sometimes it seems like it's vicious. Sometimes it seems like there's a lot of venom in these men, but what you really have is a lot of men that are hurt and in pain and do not know how to articulate it. So it's coming off as though they're just bashing women. Now, because women are very vocal, women hear these things, they're going to, go out and say, well, these men, they just hate women. They just whatever the case may be. But I want to really talk about the isolation of a man because 79%, I want y'all to understand this. Y'all hit that like button when y'all come in. Just tap that like button, y'all. Come on, let's get them likes up. Let's get them likes up. Y'all can get them likes up. Tap that like button. Hit that like button. 79%, okay, of suicide is by men in the world. 79%. That is an astronomical number, and we're gonna talk about that. You can see that in the description. But y'all go on ahead, hit that like button. I think in about 5 minutes I'm gonna get to rolling. I'm just setting this up. A lot of people who have never seen me, never came to this channel, don't know what to expect. I have to set the stage for you. But again, here we talk about all sorts of things. When you join the channel, you're a charmer. Got a great mod crew. They get in, we give feedback, we really build together. To be honest, I want a channel that I build with the viewers. That's what I want. I want a channel that I build with you because you experience what I experience. We are all experiencing similar things. It's very different, but the only way that we can connect in conversation and really through this conversation right now is you have some alignment with what I'm talking about. So when I'm talking relationships, you know, there's certain things I'm going to say, even if women disagree, they have some alignment with it. There's certain things that I say, men may disagree at times, but they have some alignment with it. But the most important key to this whole thing is really the man. He's really the man. I talk about women matter a lot because of where women are emotionally. So the live before the one I did last night, which was impromptu, I talked about that, the importance and the position of women and where they are. I've talked about that. I discussed that. But the one thing that is left off of the table is where are men emotionally and mentally? And this came about from I got the inspiration to do this message because someone had made critique of the red pill manosphere. And what I told that person was, in fact, it was a Facebook post, and it continued on into today, where I was telling them, I do understand that there are wild things. You got Fresh and Fit. You've had some other guys in the red pill manosphere world that have said some wild things that may have come off as hate towards women. I do understand that. But the red pill manosphere conversation, in his opinion, has done nothing for the community. And I couldn't disagree more. Because I feel like in the community, especially as it pertains to black people in the black community, okay, I think that it has brought about a conversation that has been very much so been needed. It hasn't been had. Okay. even in the modern sense. It's not just black people, because I think modern men and women, at least in the Western world, are talking about relationships in such a way that they hadn't before. But a lot of the disdain with the manosphere and red pill conversation is that it leads to a lot of woman hate. That's the idea, that it's leading to woman hate. And I want to get into why it seems that way, because I want to talk about where are men emotionally and mentally. Where are men emotionally and mentally? Because when you get into these comments, first off, I don't just do lives. You know, I share messages on all social platforms. I have brothers that have called me. I have brothers that have seen messages from here and called me. So I'm doing my work. I'm doing the work. I'm doing the work by being a part of the wise counsel that someone may need. And a lot of times when I'm sharing this message or these messages, it's also beneficial to me because I feel as though God ministers to me through this as well. It makes me line up and realize things that I have to do for myself and get right. But through the discussion with all sorts of men and what they're going through, there are a lot of men that are in pain. Thank you, Angie. I appreciate that. Also, Angie, you can put down in the comments in the section, and I'm probably gonna pin. I'm gonna pin this. Uh, you can put down in the section too. Uh, questions for Charm God, just like that. Questions for Charm God at gmail.com. Because if anybody has a question, if anybody has something that they want to talk about, they can connect through there. But there are a lot of men that are in pain. There are a lot of men that are suffering in pain. There are a lot of men that suffer in silence and do not feel as though they can talk to anyone. They do not feel like they can talk to anybody. And often, a lot of the pain that these men are experiencing first, a lot of the immediate pain that these men have experienced first was through a relationship. There are a lot of men that have experienced pain through a relationship. And through that pain of that relationship, it has calloused them in such a way, or it has given them a certain perception of women. And so you may get a lot of the behavior that you see. I don't know why we don't believe that, but I'm here to drive the conversation over there because it's a lot of men that have went through that. Contrary to what a lot of people believe, every man is not a dog. Every man does not seek to go into his house and be Joe Jackson or Ike Turner and beat up on his wife and kids and all these horror stories you hear. As always, we're going to hear extremes. But there are a lot of men that wake up every day, that go to work, they work overtime, and they feel as though they have some sort of mistreatment at the house. I've talked to these guys. I myself at one time have been that person. But there are a lot of men that are waking up every single day. They are worried about paying the bills. They are worried about if their spouse is happy. They are worried about the children in a large way. They are just concerned, and they have a heavy burden on them. And all the while they're doing this, they do not feel appreciated. They do not feel heard. They do not know who they can go and talk to about their problems. Because traditionally, men have been told to essentially be quiet and take it. For the most part, men have been told to be quiet and just take it and suffer through. You know, I've talked about this before, but imagine if you have to wake up. And again, this is specifically talking to and discussing men. We know that women go through things. We understand that. But this message is to humanize a man Because when you're dealing with a man, you have to humanize him. He is not a utility. He is not a robot. He is a human with emotions. So this man has to get up, go to work. He may be dealing with something. Okay, let me see. Questions for Charm God. Yep, that's right, Angie. He has to get up, go to work. He may be dealing with something at the job. I'm going to be funny today. I'm going to say Mr. Charlie. You know what I'm saying? He dealing with Mr. Charlie, right? Mr. Charlie on his ass. Yeah, it was all one word, Angie. I appreciate that. Mr. Charlie on his ass treating him bad. Bills is up to the wazoo. After he leave that job, he may have to go work another job. After he works that other job, he has to also make sure that the internal parts of his house is operating correctly. He may have to make sure that he's doing things for his children in a sports activity. He has a tall order to fulfill. And imagine in that, if he comes home and the person that he is with, he can't communicate to them. And seemingly the person that he is with always has complaints for him. But not just the person, his spouse, it's also his children. It's like a man never seems like he's ever appreciated. Then imagine if he does all these things in his mind that he feels is good. He does all these things that he feels in his mind is good. And maybe he makes a mistake, or maybe he does something that the household doesn't approve of, whatever the case may be. And now he's the worst thing since Satan. The type of loneliness that a man can experience in his moment of pain and his suffering, in his moment in suffering, can be treacherous. What you mean by choices and accountability? Now I'm doing my thing, but I want to know what you're talking about, because let me bring us back up to speed right now. I'm not even talking about, like, we know, listen, you can make decisions. I am a living, breathing example of that. Of how you can make poor decisions that will put you in a terrible situation. That's understandable. We all can make that. That all happens. But I am simply talking about someone who feels as though they're doing everything they can do. And I'm talking about men. So this is men. I love when women, it's so funny too. When I start talking about men, that women gonna come, that women will show up. But when I'm talking about women, it's, if it's not the core audience, or the family here, the charmers here, then y'all may not be around. But right now I'm talking about men, because I know some men that have made great choices, or seemingly they have made great choices, and like they're doing everything they possibly can, and they do not have a friend at home. There are some brothers that have went out and worked, like I said, and their wife started cheating on them. Then their wife will say the reason why they cheating on them is because that man isn't there for them. But that man has to work 60 hours a week to provide for that household. We talk a lot about domestic abuse with men losing their mind and doing these, homicide, suicide, incidents. But a lot of times it is not really looked into what's going on with these men mentally and emotionally. And what I am here to do is open up a door to let you see what somebody really can be going through up here as a man. Because men do not dialogue. You are now starting to see men talk in a way that they previously hadn't. You are starting to see men talk. Men were not talking at one time, but now men are talking. And to be totally honest, the men the window that we've been led into is the red pill manosphere window. And sometimes that's very dangerous because what women are seeing is a lot of poor feedback. In their minds, or perception is poor feedback or critique. But you are hearing men vent in a way that they've never been able to vent before because a lot of brothers are in pain and have suffered. I really pray that this message go to somebody. There's a man somewhere that just want to know somebody feel him and understand what he's talking about. There's a man that go to work and loves his wife dearly and has put her on a pedestal, but she is cheating on him because she don't feel like he's available. Or maybe she's not cheating on him. Maybe she's put such a heavy load on him, or he doesn't feel as though she's appreciating what he does. She doesn't appreciate what he does. She hasn't rubbed his back, and I'm not talking about a massage, but just sit next to the man, rubbed his back and said, "Are you okay?" Ooh, hey, Toy, God bless you. God bless you. Cause that message is coming. The foundation is God. I think we've talked about this before. Ooh, that's been on my heart. What's going on, Greatest American Alive? What's going on? That's been on my heart. Talking about the foundation of God. Hey, we gonna get there, but let me cook cause I'm talking about men. The suffering of a man. There is a man giving all he can and all he really needed from his wife, all he needed from her was a level of just, I see you. Are you okay? I see you. That's all he needed. There are men that are so depressed and let me talk about let me just put this in there too before I go any further. God should not just be at the foundation of the relationship. It needs to be in the foundation of the person of man. You need to know God, and when you know God as the man, you then need to introduce God into the realm of your relationship. But before we get there, we have to humanize. We have to humanize men because it's just not happening. So when men get spaces like the red pill, what's up, Tekken? When you get spaces like the red pill manosphere community, and men are able to talk about how they feel, what you're looking at is men that are able to come into a space where other men can identify with what they've got going on. And so it's venting. It's venting. A lot of times too, I'm gonna say this. A lot of times women will use God. They will use God and don't even follow him. First off, I had a question. I asked this on Facebook today. Are you following God if you're not following his instructions? The word of God isn't just to whoop people and to make them do what you want them to do. A lot of women do that. Appreciate that, Toy. Y'all donate to the show. Y'all feel free to donate to the show. We are growing here on this channel. So donate, hit the like button, hit the subscribe button. These men have went to a place where They can see other men venting and talking about what's going on that they can identify with. And that's why it seems visceral and venomous, but it's not. Because where else can men talk about these issues? So when you look at that suicidal rate and you see that it's so high amongst men, it's a reason why. There are men that are depressed, that are just literally dying inside and have no refuge, and they got to get up every day and go to work. There are men that want to be in their children's life. There are men that wish they could be at home with their spouse or whatever the case may be, and child support is debilitating. There are women that have weaponized. No, the email toy is questions for charm god at Gmail. The charm god Drew is the cash app. Actually, if y'all could just put it together, we'll put the whoever does it first, just put the email questions for charm god and the cash app together. I'll pin it. There are brothers that's going to work, working overtime, and they barely have anything for themselves to take care of themselves because child support got them underwater. The most important part is taking care of your kids, being around, just the ability to be around your kids, to be able to take care of yourself, make sure you can pay the rent, make sure you can put food on the table. Now it's gone because you have to ship half that over to your baby mama or whatever the case may be. You can barely take care of yourself. So what do you think's gonna happen when a red pill or manosphere conversation comes up and men start talking about what they've experienced in the space? What you think gonna happen when that brother's letting all that hate and all that venom out? It's legitimate. Me saying that that's legitimate is not me saying that that is legitimate. Appreciate that, Toy. Me saying that that's legitimate is not to say that it's acceptable, but it's reasonable. It's reasonable. I'm going to say this too. It's different. It is different when a woman is doing it. It is different when a woman is doing it. And I want y'all to understand this. We have different consequences for different things. But when a man is down and out, when a man is hit rock bottom, it's different because he does not get the aid women get. Men do not get the same aid that women get when they're down and out. Women actually get a lot of help. A woman can go back home. A woman can be a six-figure income earner, go back home, and everybody will embrace her and want to see her get back on her feet. Men cannot. Do you know it's hard for a man to do that? A man has to persevere through so much. A man has to be able to still take care of himself, still take care of his family, go through anything that's going on emotionally, and basically carry himself through the trenches. At least he feels this way. There are things that will happen in a man's life that'll make you have to go seek out God. You better go seek him out because that's the only way you're going to get through that issue. Men have feelings. A lot of times what's happening, now I want to put this in context. A man might be going through all of this and then infidelity comes in, and then a drug problem comes in, and then alcoholism comes in. All these other symptoms can come in based off of what's going on in his heart. Get that poem G out of here. Hot grandma loves cereal. Get him out of here. He's a troll. It's not that these men are just out here to be vicious all the time. It's not that these men are to be vicious all of the time. So again, you have a man that has, you know, he's again, I've set the scenario up. He's working. He's doing everything he feels he needs to do for his family. He's trying hard. He comes home. He doesn't have any type of rapport with his mate, with his wife. And then guess what he's prone and liable to do once he feels like he can get a source of comfort or peace. It could be out in the streets. It could be in the bottle of Jack Daniels. It could be with in another woman. It could be that. But what happens is, even when I'm describing this, even when I'm talking about this and humanizing a man, there are so many people, men included, well, he should do this, he should do that, he should do that, he should know better. How many of us are living our life like that? How many of us, hindsight is 2020. If you knew better, you would have been done better. When you say weakness, though, what are we talking about? We all can be weak. We all can be weak. We all can be weak. We must humanize men. You have to humanize men. You have to. And we can look at some things to say, hey, there's a reason why we should be humanizing men, because look at these suicide rates. There are a lot of depressed men. There are a lot of men on medication. We haven't even talked about veterans with PTSD. This is flesh right here. Let's talk about it. Now, what you talking about? When you say we need to hold each other accountable, what you saying? Because if you talking about holding a woman accountable, do you know how many women don't want to? Now, Toy, are you a woman, if you don't mind me asking? Because I just see Toy play, so I don't, I don't want to be disrespectful to a charmer out there. You a part of the family, but I just see names. I don't see a picture. But if you're a woman, it's going to be perfect, so we can really talk about this. When you say hold each other accountable, right? I hear you. I hear what you're saying. But one thing, let's talk about this. A lot of the household is as strong as the man. This is very true. We talking about men. Okay, you talking about men holding each other accountable. Okay, you're a woman. All right. Shout out to the sisters out there. I'm glad y'all are part of the community. Um, Now, when you say holding each other accountable, are you talking about the woman and the man holding each other accountable? Or are you talking about men holding each other accountable? What are we talking about there? I just want to get some clarification before I continue on. Um, because I don't think women have a problem holding men accountable or attempting to. I think a lot of the times it becomes an issue when you're trying to hold the woman accountable. It's typically a lot harder to hold. We talking about men, so I don't want to go off into this too much, but it's a little harder to hold y'all accountable. It's really harder to hold women accountable without other women. That's why I think what women really need is a strong, women need a good, godly, strong group of married women. That's what they, in that sense. That's what they really need. Tribes, I agree with that, but women need that because it's hard to hold them accountable. But we're talking about what do men experience in the modern time, present day right now, without all the solution that we offer. Because the truth is, we can get in here right now and give solutions, which we should have them. We want to have solutions here, but I'm talking about effectively right now what men are going through, what men are experiencing. What men are experiencing right at this moment, right now. There just are a lot of men under pressure. They don't have the companionship needed at the household. And guess what they in a lot of times, and if any of y'all have been married or been in a relationship, you may have noticed that your man will go off into what I call a retreat. So he will retreat. He doesn't want to be bothered. He's trying to think it out. He's trying to go through it in his head. Things like that. When you say America is not our community, you talking about black people? You talking about us as black people? We're being held to a different standard in the country? What you talking about? Because this might be a good segue to get into something. Because again, like I've said here, this is for everybody. This is for everybody. But I tailor a lot of this conversation towards black people. The concept of the concept of the illusion of strength in the Bible refers to the deceptive appearance of power or security that is not grounded in true faith or reliance on God's truth. Men need to fall to the foot of God and repent. Yes. Hey, this is all facts. This is all facts. This is all facts. Y'all ain't saying nothing wrong. Again, before I get there, y'all moving a little ahead of me. But before I get there, let's talk about this. I'm glad you brought this up, Toy. Shout out to you for coming in and making it all interesting. That's why when I do this, a lot of times I'm happy when y'all are here because y'all improve the conversation. So when you say America is not our community, but we're talking about black people, right? I disagree with that. You said we are not meant to be with one person. Are you talking about women and men? Ooh, you finna have me cooking. I'm finna just give me a whole list. Well, I got a pen. Let me write this down. Hey, I'm finna get the cooking because I'm finna cook up on all of this. Let's go back. Let's go back to I think we are meant to be with one person. Just because we're capable to be with someone else, I don't believe that at all. And I'll get into I have done the poly thing before. I've had multiple women. I can get into the dysfunction in that. I can get into the function of that. Um, but we gonna get in. Let me cook this message up because I'll just be looking at these comments all day. Let me go back to the black community, especially as we talk about men, black men. We need this space because black men don't have it. To your point, no, it is there is not in this society, in the American society, in the black community, there is not a place for the black man to do a few things. One of those things is understand what real masculinity is. And in our community, the people who want to tell us what masculinity is women. And over half the time, they don't know what masculinity is or real masculinity. They haven't had hadn't had a healthy relationship with masculinity because many of them have had single mother households that they've grown up in. They've had single mother households that they have grown up in. So they don't even have a healthy relationship with masculinity. Then when you look at men, right? Are you poly, Toy? By the way, are you poly? Is that something that you're into? Because I think you might have mentioned this before, but I'll get more into why I don't think that I don't think that poly is the way for us to go. However, I think it has its place. I think it has its place. But back to what you were saying about this community and black men. Black men specifically, even amongst each other, we have like a weird relationship with one another. I've had more issues between like as far as like business, just having business relationship, whatever the case may be. I've had more issues with brothers than sisters. I'll say this again. I've said it on this channel time and time again. As player as I've been in the streets, as macadocious as I thought I was, and everything that I've experienced with women, black women have never done me no wrong. I've never felt wrong. I've never felt wrong by black women. I've probably gone through all the normal things that anybody would go through when it comes down with women. I've gone through all the normal whatever, lying. Maybe they got somebody else, whatever the case may be. That ain't nothing. That ain't never been a problem. But when it comes down to brothers, black men, it is only a few men of like real cut masculinity that I've been able to get along with. And sometimes you'll find this out, like this brother down here, Greatest American Alive. By the way, y'all need to tap into that channel because that is the other channel that I'm on with that brother right there, Greatest American Alive. Great show that we put out. That brother grew up with his dad. We were both in the Navy, veterans together. That brother grew up with his father, very masculine, is 10 toes down on his word. He just operates a certain way that I can understand. We get along. Even if we were to have some kind of tension, whatever the case may be, I am more than confident we have a way to get through that. Most of the men that I did have dealt with in business, whatever the case may be, and we were getting along, that was the case. They had a male presence and father in their life. It is going to be the men who do not have dads, who have grown up in single parent households with their mother, that I'm mainly going to have issues with most of the time. And so because that is a issue or has been an issue in the community, in our community, that we are currently trying to address when we have these conversations, you're going to have a lot of masculinity issues with men. Men are looking towards women to tell them how to be men. Hyper emotional, grew up with their mama taught them how to be emotional. Then our women in our community are trying to tell us what to do and how to run the community instead of the other way around. And then our women have a big problem with that because our women are not used to men telling them what to do and never have been since they've been in this country. We need to understand that there has not been a real there has not been a real level of patriarchy in the black community as a whole. Get that word Wonder Wiz 3250 out of here. That's a troll. As a whole, because when we got to the country, we never had a real place of uh being the head of anything, even though there was marriage in slavery times. So we've never really had a place. When you talking about the black man specifically, this is not even talking about other. Man, I'm getting you out of here. You just up in here, trolling. Don't just troll. Hit the like button while you're here too. When you talk about the black man specifically, we really hadn't had any real place of leadership here. We've had it in small pockets, but as a whole, no. So going back to that idea that the American community does not help breed or, encourage black men to strive for masculinity or a healthy form of it the way they do everyone else, of course not. That's why we have to do it for each other. And a lot of the times we got to go back to the basics. And we have to have these type of conversations. I'm not a big fan of Dr. Umar. I like Dr. Umar. Let me say this. Let me say this. I do think that poly can work for some. I believe that poly can work for some. He's gonna need a lot of money. And it has to be more than just sex. It can't just be a sexual thing. It just can't be that. It can't be filled with lust. And you have to govern that. If you are able to govern that thing like a marriage and make it work, cool. That's cool. But my thing with Dr. Umar is show me where that's practically working. Show me that he don't even got a wife. He don't have no wife. He may have some kids. He got a baby mama or something like that. But where is his wife? Are you governing that relationship? Can you govern that thing to where you can produce stellar citizens in the country, society? Maybe you can. I don't really want to yeah, you if you have the money for it, fine. But I just found that it was problematic in other areas. We will do the poly conversation. I think that's something that we need to do. We will get into it. But as far as Dr. Umar, he can be poly all day. Where is his marriage at? So if he's poly and that's working, why can't we see it? Where your women at? I don't like Yada. I don't know if you know who Yada is. I'm pretty sure you know who Yada is. Yada seemed to got Yada got his money up, and he got two women. He got two wives. Even though I don't really like his ideology, I witnessed the brother cut with words against another man's manhood because he didn't agree with how he's managing relations with women. Yeah, I'm gonna get back to that Tekken. Yeah, I don't know what Dr. Umar is. I don't know what Dr. Umar is, but he showed don't have he has not exemplified to me anything about his message that works. But men can be very emotional. Men can be very emotional. Uh Men will resort to violence when they really don't know how to work through tense moments with their mind. A lot of men will emotionally respond instead of mentally responding. Yeah, Dr. Umar got baby mamas. Dr. Umar ain't out here. Listen, it's easy for a woman to say that. I think the reason why a lot of women are now okay with poly is because getting a man out here to take care of you is far and few between. A lot of them, uh, to get a man, especially when it comes down to depending on their age and where they are, a lot of women are okay with that. And if you really look at it, different baby mamas and people have kind of been poly anyway. What I recommend for a man to do is get his money up and do what God tell him to do and find him one good wife. That's what I recommend. But if God say get two, if that's something that He's permitting, fine. But you don't need two of them. You need one of them. You need one. You need one person that's down with you to do what you need. That's really what you need. Some women want equality and to be a dependent at the same damn time. They all want that. They all want that. They all want equality. They want equality. They want to be a dependent, and at the same time, which is what the equality piece is, be independent at the same time. And the man has to manage all of that. A man has to manage all of that. My issue, listen, man. Dr. Umar. Here's my thing with Dr. Umar. Dr. Umar, I think I said this yesterday, Tekken. This my thing with Dr. Umar, and I've gotten some flack on this from TikTok. Said I was a hater and I was hating on the man and blah 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 blah. A lot of these men will get up. First off, where's your family? Where is your family? That brother's not poly. That brother don't got no wives. We haven't seen his family. We haven't seen him take care of any type of family. Where is his family at? All he do is get on these pods and get online and talk a whole bunch of nothing. Then he talked about building this school, talking about he kin to Frederick Douglass. I don't even think they say they got any links to him. He talked about building this school and ain't been built not near school. I don't want to hear from him. I liked him when he was on Hidden Colors. Let me tell you something. I go deep with the conscious community. I go, if anybody want to talk about the conscious community, y'all want to get into that, I go deep. Dr. Frances Welsing, that's her name. I saw her at the Shrine of the Black Madonna in Houston. Powerful sister. What was that book she wrote? A lot of predictions she made to me, not to me, they have come true. Asher Kwesi, when he started talking about Egyptology and all of that. So watching Hidden Colors was amazing to me. I liked what Umar was about. I like what Dr. Umar was about. But I think that he needs, if he's talking about black advancement in the space of psychology in school, that's where he needs to stay at. But when we talk about the family, putting the family together, I have not seen anything that Dr. Umar has done that really has worked. Because all he doing is running his mouth. Then you said you were celibate. This is the part I got on him about. He said he was celibate. Turned out you was messing around with the strippers. Now I'm not judging you. We men. Men need sex. But if you gonna say that that's your walk and that you being spiritual and you celibate and it's a reason why, then I expect for you to stand on that. I expect for you to. That's the problem in our space now with a lot of men, because we talking about men right now. The issue with a lot of men is that these brothers are not who they say they are, and nobody believes them. And then I think at the end of the day, he in his flesh. But if you gonna talk about God, why we talking about him? Cause he in his flesh. We all. Yes, Dr. Frances Cress Wilson. I saw her at the Shrine of the Black Madonna. That is a powerful sister. I saw her here in Houston in person. Saw that sister. We was just talking about God. Then Dr. Umar, he's not the exemplary example of what we talking about right now, because he full of shit. No different than Cheyenne Bryan and everybody else. They full of shit. And I'm not saying I'm perfect, because hey, I still operate in the flesh at times. We all do. But if we gon' let me tell y'all something, and this is me being more transparent. Man, listen, when you talk about poly, I didn't juggle. I spent years juggling 2 and 3 women. Years juggling 2 and 3 women. I had a moment where, I had my wife and a girlfriend. So do you know how much sex I was used to? I mean, a lot of sex. And to get to a place now where I'm like, no, I'm refraining from that. I'm walking righteously and I'm living out my message as best I can. I'm not perfect though. And so I'm not judging him at all. And to your point, too, I totally agree. I'm not perfect. I'm not perfect. Shit. The right piece of cat come around, you never know. Although I'm walking a righteous path, I pray for my family. I've told y'all this before and what I believe in. None of us are perfect, but that's where prayer and God does come into play. That's where prayer and God comes into play and living off them instructions. But yeah, I mean, as far as Dr. Umar Johnson, I have not seen a lot of these people have come into our community. I've said this before, that they are scammers. I wasn't just juggling, I was building. I was trying to build. I have not seen a successful show me a successful American black poly couple. Show it to me. I ain't seen it. Show it to me. I have not seen it. And on average income. See, I'm glad you're here. This is what happens when we bring women into the conversation. This is what happens when we bring women into the conversation. How, man, Will and Jada ain't poly. Will and Jada freaky. They freaks. That man was hurt. When she sit that man on red table and told him what she was doing to that young man, that man was hurt. Who's Yaki? I need to go see who Yaki is. Jay-Z and Beyonce not poly. These women show me. See, look, we bring up far and few between. The average income, the message that I got to put out is for average people, because most people are going to be average. I wasn't even a 6-figure income earner and was able to do what I did with multiple women because of I'm the fucking charm god. Everybody not going to be smooth, charming, or whatever the case may be. Not to pat me on the back, but the average person, it's questionable. It's questionable because my daughter's boyfriend, she's in college. They're in college. Had his father's was poly, and it came with issues. We talked about that. So that's not always the case. I'm not. Again, I really want to say the poly conversation. I really want to save the poly conversation for another time, because I really want to dive into that. And again, I'm not saying that poly does not work or can't be. I'm saying it really don't. I'm saying it don't work. But I'm not saying that I'm just totally against the idea, or that it doesn't have its place in society. But most of us are average. Most of us are average. Listen, y'all. When we get to talking, who is this Star Wars fan 2020? You better not be a troll, or you getting up out of here. So if you ain't offering nothing to this conversation, you about to get up out of here. And I think you a troll. So don't be in here saying nothing silly. I'm going to let you stay just for a little bit. Get him out of here. Star Wars, get him out. You got to go. He a troll. Get him out. in the relationship conversation, we gotta have we're talking to average people. Are you, man? Hey, don't be a troll. Don't be a troll. If it's the moment you start saying something weird, you're gonna have to go, Star Wars fan. Don't be a troll, then you can stay. Okay, I promoted strip clubs. I was in a 9-year relationship. I had multiple women and could afford it. I just felt it not worth it. Why you feel it wasn't worth it? Now, Toy, you a woman. You a woman. You a woman, and you had multiple women. So why you stopped doing it? Why you say you didn't feel like it was worth it? Why you say you feel like you wasn't worth it? You're a professional welder, all right, you can stay. Why you feel like it wasn't worth it? And I want to point out something, and I'm not picking on you. I'm not picking on you, Toy. Uh, but you are a woman saying that. You're a woman. You're a woman talk. The relationship as a woman. First off, I don't acknowledge same sex relationships to be real relationships. I'm sorry. I understand that we live in a society where it is permitted. I understand that you can do what you want to do, but especially when we're talking about women, it's not the same. A woman being with women is not the same as a man that is with his woman and has to govern that family. It's not the same. Y'all don't get the same reactions. Y'all don't get the same connection. It's just not the same. And again, when we are talking about the relationship conversation as it stands, we are primarily talking to average people. So when you're talking about this conversation, and financially we're talking having this conversation with average people, we're talking about average income. We're talking about average income. The average income earner, the average income earner for a black man is about in the 40s. It's in the 40s. How he gonna have multiple women like that? Then not only that, the only way that is really gonna work, first off, the average man is having trouble trying to make it with the one woman. Now wait a minute. What is not of God and what's demonic? Explain that. Give me a paragraph here so I can read that. I want to know what you trying to say like that right there. The average income earner in the United States is trying to make it work. Or let me back that up because I want to preference this. I want to preference this correctly. The average black man that is making in the 40s is trying to make it work with that black woman at home that does not respect him because of what he make. So it's just not gonna work. And again, that's added. Now that we're talking about men suffering, that is another added stressor at home to a lot of men. How he gonna get his money up? How he gonna get his money up? He say the modern man is gay, adjacent, and broke. A lot of them are. That's true. How he gonna get his money up? I told you it don't work. Take it from me. Having multiple women is not conducive to a man, the modern man, to be doing that. Now, what he can do, I am not, I am not, I am not, I am not, I am not. You said women with women, same sex. Agreed. Agreed. Uh, I am not condoning this. So when I say this, I don't want y'all to take it as game and whatever. I'm not trying to run with that. But as a man, let's say like in the city of Houston, it's enough women that if you want to just date multiple women and let them know you can, as long as you can take them out and treat them on little trips and stuff, you could do that. You can do that. But at the end of the day, It is not wise or good for a man to try to keep in modern America to keep multiple women. He needs to get him one wife when he's ready, build him a family around that, and go from there. If he's gonna go that route. But trying to have multiple women, because here's the thing, one woman, one woman wants to spend all your money. What you think two gonna do? How much money do I gotta have to keep these women up? No, you need a virtuous woman in your life, marry her, raise kids with her, and move on. See, I'm gonna tell you something. There's a lot of women out there that just don't want to be wives, they want to be whores. And I said this already. If you're not a wife, you're a whore. It's a lot of people want more than one girlfriend. It's really lust. It's okay, y'all don't want to talk about y'all don't want to talk about the message. So we gonna get on and talk about this. Let's talk about this. Let's talk about this. The people have spoken. Yay! The people have spoken. I can barely handle one dude. Okay, man. I don't know. We not talking about that. But here's the thing. I think when we talking about poly, we talking about lust. And when we talking about poly with women, when we talking about poly with men, we talking about lust. When we talking about poly with women, it's a mixture of lust and provision. But more than anything, it's more provision. Is mainly provision. You have a lot of women. It's hard. Y'all do know the economy is hard right now, and it's gonna get harder. You're gonna see people shacking up like that. You're gonna see some multiple women. You know that's already been prophesied in the Bible. You're gonna see multiple women go to men, multiple men. You're gonna see that. A wife, if she's going to be a wife, she has to follow the description according to the Bible. To me, if she gonna be a wife is somebody that you marry, or somebody that is having sex with her husband, having kids with her husband, and in the house with that husband and that family. That's a wife, not a girlfriend, not a casual hookup, none of that. That's a wife. A whore having sex with everybody. A whore is having sex with everybody. She's not at home with her husband. She's doing whatever she please. That's not a wife. A wife is at home with her husband, abiding by what her husband is asking of her. That's a wife. Monogamy does work. We were just talking about God being the foundation. Monogamy works. I'm gonna tell you why people say monogamy don't work. I'm gonna tell you there aren't many wives in America. I'm gonna tell you why people say monogamy don't work. People are not disciplined in their own life. People ain't disciplined. Most people are not disciplined. Most people do not want to be in any type of commitment. So when you are in a relationship with one person for the rest of your life, it's not gonna always be happy. It's not gonna always be a happy life. It's gonna be ebbs and flow. It's gonna be ups and downs. I don't subscribe to that whole concept and idea that monogamy don't work. The truth is people just give up too quick. People give up very, very easy. And you know what? A lot of times it's hard. And I'm gonna just be really honest with you. This might be very controversial. I mean, that's what we're here to do, right? Be controversial. But a lot of times it's women that make it hard. Women don't do well in relationships. Nobody wants to talk about this, but women do not do well in relationships. Women are just not. The modern woman is not cut out to be in a relationship. So you have a lot of men. There's this. I talk about this book. I've said it before too. Is that most men don't have access to any women. Most women have access to many men, and they're choosing many men. That's very true. I've talked about this book before, The Rational Male by Rollo Tomasi. The Rational Male by Rollo Tomasi, where he says that men are romantics masquerading as rational, and women are rational masquerading as romantics. I'm going to say that again. Men are romantics masquerading as though they're rational, and women are rational masquerading as romantics. Women are a lot more rational with things. Men expect romance. Men want to be in love. I believe that men are more likely to be imagining the picket fence with the wife. It's just like a Major Payne, if y'all have ever seen Major Payne, where Damon Wayans had fallen in love with Karen Parson, right? And he imagined her walking out the house, you know what I'm saying? He imagined her walking out the house and had the picket fence and all of that, the white picket fence. And he seen the kid coming out there. What was his name? What's the little boy name? Tyler. That was his name on Jamie Foxx, I think. But you know, little boy seen him come out there. A lot of men have that vision of women. A lot of men have a pleasant vision of what it's like to be with a woman, and it don't be shit like that. This is why a lot of men are under the impression that you have to be an asshole to have a woman, because seemingly women treat men who act like assholes a lot better. Seemingly, men who are acting and behaving as assholes, your macho men, men who typically just don't give a damn, seem to get the best treatment out of women. And so, do you know how hard it is? Do you know how hard it is for a man to realize that being the nice guy does not work? See, I ain't never really been the nice guy, to be totally honest, because I lived by a code. And I think if most men live by this code, they gonna win. If you live by this one code, and shout out to Houston, Texas, because Houston, Texas has blessed us with the game that I'm about to give y'all right now. Okay, y'all ready for this? Let me say this. Players get chose. Players get chose. I'm only gonna deal with, and it has been like this since I was in high school. I have only dealt with women that wanted to deal with me. You have to deal. A woman's desire is. You have to deal with a woman's desire. You can't be, when their desire changes and how they feel about you, they'll leave. A lot of times they will. The woman has to find you desirable. Sometimes the issue is, especially when you get married, is how you constantly manufacture this place of desire when you're just treating her good. Now, here's another thing. I've had this, I don't know if I want to call this a hypothesis or whatever, but I think if you're not in demand by other women, most women don't want you. That's why cheating really don't matter. She just don't want you to leave her. But to be totally honest, women don't really care about you cheating on them. Sips lemonade. Sips lemonade. I don't think, I'm calling cap on all women that say they bothered by cheating, especially when she really desires and wants to be with that man. And see, women work off desire. That's their version of love. They respect from that too. But all this idea and concept that if you just treat them really nice and be really good and really respectful, you know, the modern woman has proven over time that that's not true. Man, Patrice O'Neal Patrice O'Neal dropped so much actual shit. Patrice O'Neal dropped so much actual shit. And the only reason why I agree with it, him, the Kevin Samuels, and everyone else, is because I lived it. He's right. Say, man, listen, y'all know I like to share personal stories. When I was going to community college at HCC, I would have this chick that was in school with me, and I would knock it down in the morning time and go to school, drop her off. We both going to school, and it seemed like the day that I knocked it down, it's like they be on me. I couldn't explain it. Women were extra flirtatious. I couldn't explain it. I bull shit you not. If you've ever been at home with your lady and you get some in the morning, even the night before, and you go to work, they gonna be on you. So I have this theory that women are naturally attracted to men who are already in high demand by other women. The truth is, women are complaining about the men that are in demand. They're not complaining about all men. I'm going to say that again. Women are complaining about the men that are in demand. They're not complaining about all men because there's some men out here that will take care of you. There are men out here that will simp and do all that nice shit that you want them to do and, be courteous and not cheat on you and whatever. But a lot of times, women do not fare well in those situations. And to my original point, when I was talking about men suffering, there are a lot of men that are in situations with women like that. That woman is the apple of their eye, and they damn near about to take their cell phone up out of here. Women cause a lot of relationship issues. Man, I hope they not about to cut the grass, dog. I think they are, man. I think the yard man about to cut the grass is gonna be loud. If it get too loud, man, I'm gonna have to cut this short live. This live short. Yeah, that's the case. They want the top 30%. That's what women are fighting over. Women are fighting over. Women are fighting over the top percentage of men. That's what they doing. You can put it in the door. Yeah, put it in the door. Yeah, put it up there. Okay, they not cutting the yard. They just trying to they driving around. It's some yard men. They trying to see what grass they can cut. I ain't. Hey, go ahead, get your hustle on. Yeah, that's true. Women are complaining. Listen, it's a lot of good men out there. And if we talking about again, I like to go back to the averages. I like to go back to averages. Man, if you got the average man making at least mid 40s, mid 40,000 or whatever the case may be, it's quite a few men that's doing that. It's quite a few men. It's a lot of men in the workplace going to work. It is. How could you not want that? How could you not want somebody to come in your life and take 50% of the burden? How could you want somebody to not come in your life and take 50% of the pain you going through? Somebody, I don't want to go 50-50. Well, you going 100% right now, and you ain't doing a good job at that. You ain't doing a good job at that. Men have a lot of shit that they have to deal with, and it's surrounding women. It's a lot of issues. No, that's not your purpose. That shouldn't be your purpose. You need to align with your purpose. You need to go do all the yada 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 cliche things that you've heard. But women are the counterparts. We need them in society outside of just sex. But they are the biggest issue for us to deal with. And it's hard for us to vent and talk to other men of wisdom to understand how to operate with that. It's hard. Social media, social media as a whole changed the woman's mind and her brain. Your grandma wasn't with her moo on goddamn TV. Cause y'all know this is TV. This TV in your hand. Your grandma was not with a moo on TV shaking her rump. All these women want is attention. Taking these Ozempic shots and everything else, BBLs, just to look a certain way. Yeah. And for a man who wants to get out here and procreate and get him a wife, and I'm talking about the average man, this is very difficult. You know, like this clip, that went viral, with this girl talking about and I forgot her name. I know her name. She was on Anton Daniels. It was an Anton Daniels show. I'm sure you know Greatest American. I'm sure you know. She talking about all the men that were mad at women that they couldn't have in high school. Now he the CEO. He need to get over it and get them women a chance, and them women ain't no better. Man, get out of here. I say, why you even thinking about them women? That shouldn't even be a conversation. He a CEO and he's still talking about a woman that was messing with dope dealers in high school. Most people are average. Most of us are average. Most of us are average. Most of us are average income earners. Most of us are average in weight. Most of us are average in height. I honestly, to be totally honest, I don't even listen to women in the relationship atmosphere. The only time that I listen to them is if they are supporting women for the wife role. If there are other wives talking about women in the wife space and what they can do to be better wives and all of that, this is the only time I'm listening. I don't listen to women in the relation. So I'm supposed to sit up here and listen to somebody that can't stay married, that hasn't been in any type of marriage. And when I mean marriage, I mean 10, 15 years. You can't even stay there that long. I'm not listening to you. Yeah, we're all delusional. We're all delusional. Men have a level of delusion with women as well. Men have a level of delusion with women as well on what we can and can't have. But this is why we got these spaces, man. We have these spaces because men are not able to communicate or hadn't been able to communicate prior to this. So we have it now. We got the space where we can get in here, communicate, talk about dating, talk about the things that we're going through. So you don't have to suffer in silence no more. You don't have to be alone. You can listen and talk to other men. That's what this space is for. And women need to learn here too and see what men are really looking for. But if these women were getting everything that they asked for, they wouldn't be so lonely. It's a lot of lonely women. It's a lot of women. Yo, I would love to get the percentage of women over 35 that's single. I would love to get that statistic because I'm pretty sure it's high. I'm pretty sure it's high. Mm. I'm pretty sure it's high. But again, the point of this message when I started off was talking about men suffering in silence and humanizing men. Humanizing men. And often we just don't. Because even with this conversation right here, the conversation amongst what a valuable man has become something that's really just extraordinary to a small amount of people, no matter the race of the man. No matter the race of the man. Men are measured off of what they can do. Men are measured off what they can produce in order to have some sort of happiness in this world. Men have to be on this Most men, I think, feel like they have to be on this unreasonable, or this have these unreasonable standards for them that they have to try to meet just to have a comfortable life. you know, because of social media, our women are in a place to where they're just not comfortable with you having a job. I'm gonna go ahead and I'm gonna place this. I'm gonna pin this message. Unpartnered adults, 25 to 54. In 2019, 36% of women in this age group were unpartnered, meaning they were neither married nor cohabitating. 36%. That's a lot. That is a lot. We talked about this too. Greatest American. We talked about this too. You know, at the end of the day, um, the birth rates are down everywhere. Here we go. We got one. We got one. Let her stay. Let her stay. Let's see what she said. Why don't men get professional help that they so desperately need? Who says that men aren't getting the help? She's definitely on that BS. Misandry, feminist, just coming in here being a misandrist. You need to just hit the like button. Why don't you do that? Help us get the channel out because we're talking to men and we're talking about help. So why don't you do this? Hit the like button and hit the share button so they can get some help. We're helping them right now by dialoguing. And that's the type of shit a lot of them do. Just come in and say, "Oh, why don't y'all get the help that y'all need?" Yes, we've been in here talking about it. We've been in here almost 2 hours talking about how men are suffering. And there's all sorts of reasons why men are suffering. And we're talking about it right now. A lot of men don't feel like they can go out and talk to anybody. But we have a space right here where we can share stories amongst men and we have some wise counsel and encourage men to get help. So a lot of times, this is the first place. A lot of times when you come see a man talking about manly stuff, why did you come in here? Not to disrespect you, but why did you come in here? That's good. I'm glad it did. So you should listen and offer something to the conversation. Men don't get if I hope that's a real question, and I hope that it isn't you just being a bit of a troll. I don't think men feel like they have the time to go get help. A lot of men have a difficult time with opening up. I'm not knocking, hey, Bronx girl. I'm just busting your chops a little bit. We get trolls in here. We got to make sure that we got people that really want to come to the community and have a good conversation. Because I talk about so many different things in here. But I just want to make sure that you was coming into the community to put something of value here and not just to kind of beat us up. A lot of men are getting beat up. And I think primarily it's a money thing. To your point, you said a therapist isn't going to change the economy. That's true. Men need jobs. Men need good paying jobs. She's a content creator. Do you know who she is? What's her content? What does she make content about? Men need good paying jobs. But Can y'all hear me? Can y'all hear me? Is the sound back? Can y'all hear me? We good? All right, I'm back. You know, I don't have a problem with I don't have a problem with what Bronx Girl is saying, but I guess my issue is they always make it seem like it's so easy. Oh, just go get some help. Like it's just really not that easy. It's not easy to just wake up and say, "Oh, I'm gonna go get some help," and then everything's gonna change. Like that doesn't really happen. We encourage help, but I think a lot of times before we can even get to the place of where when we really just want to go get real therapy, we gotta have a forum. Like I think it's gonna start here. I think forums start here amongst men. This is a place, and then we could talk about therapy. But going to therapy, can y'all hear me? I'm good, taking. Uh, if we talking about going to therapy, yes, I encourage therapy. I encourage therapy, but I think that we need a package deal. It has to be more than just therapy. We do need jobs. You know, we need to be able to afford a good life for ourselves and be able to take care of our families. I think one of the biggest issues with men right now is just being able to take care of a nice sized family. You don't think that having a therapist helps?